myopusradio.
Something special.
So, Amit, I was just going through your biography before I came in because I realized I had to find out something about you before I interviewed you. So, you went to Berklee School of Music in Boston, which is supposedly the mecca of musicians all over the world. So, what's it actually like? And you won a scholarship there, am I right? So, what's it actually like going there? I mean, is that something we should do in India as an institute? What do you think? Would you compare musical training there and here?
It's a huge difference because I don't think we don't have that good music education actually, especially Western music. Indian music, of course, there is, but Western music, I mean, it's on a different level altogether because there are musicians from all over the world. Most of them really good players already, and you wonder why they're coming to school. But the teachers are fantastic, and also, just America is a great place for education to begin with. But the school for music it's a contemporary school. So you're studying all kinds of styles and solid foundation in music, so much so that you can, do whatever you want with that, in your life. So in terms of education in India, music education, absolutely there's a huge scope. A lot of people interested, and there's a lot of possibility to come up to have a great school for music in India, and I hope it happens.
So I was just talking to Amit about music education abroad, and as I understand it, you've studied abroad as well, and at the Guitar Institute of Technology, if I'm not mistaken. So what about your experiences there? What do you think is the difference between music education in India and over there, and what can we do to get things up to speed along with the rest of the world?
Wow. Well, I don't think... Well, first of all, there aren't really any institutions here that I know of that teach Western contemporary music. I know that there's Bangalore School of Music, but I think that's classical based. For contemporary music, there is no school. No, there's no institution in India. So where do you start? I mean, I don't know if that's when that will happen. There's probably not enough people there's not enough of a demand for somebody to want to start an institution. So really the only option for people who want to study here is to actually go out of India, but it's not possible for most people to do it because of the financial situation. But the next best thing is to be able to hang out with people who could probably teach you something and try to learn from books. But it's sad that there's a lot of people want to study, but they are not able to because it's so expensive.
After your graduation, both of you, I mean, you all were assuming about 21, early 20s, I would say.
I don't know, Sanjay may have...
He's 25.
Okay, so early to mid 20s.
Early 20s.
Yeah, that's still on the dignified side of 20. So, how did you start actually making an entry into, how shall I say it, commercial music? How did you actually start making music pay for your, wine and dine and keep?
I guess for me, when I came back, I worked with, in India at least, I worked with Louis for a while, Louis Banks and with Ranjit and all of them. So Louis was doing a lot of work, including performing as well as jingles and all of that. So for a year and a half, I did that with him, and we were working regularly. And then, of course, I started getting some other gigs after that. I went back to Berklee and hooked up. Some things happened there, and then I started touring. It kind of just happens. It has to be. It's not like a regular job where you finish your degree and someone recruits you into a company. Yeah, you just kind of start doing stuff as soon as you get out of school. So it's a little different, but things happen, especially if it's meant to be. So,
Sanjay, would you agree with that? Would you just say that it's up to, firstly you have to have a certain amount of talent, and then there's a passion and a drive to get somewhere, and that will see you there? Or was there an external factor that played an influence in it?
Passion has to be there, obviously. Without the passion and the focus, it's not going to be possible. But so that's one aspect of it. The other is to be able to network, try to play with as many musicians as possible, try to put yourself in as many musical situations as possible, which is more possible, I think, in the West than it is here. Here it's quite limited. But that's what I tried to do. I tried to play with as many musicians as possible, and slowly over a period of time started to get gigs that actually paid. Actually, my journey was quite different. Actually, I did a whole bunch of other jobs, which is quite common for people who live in the US, artists, to have other jobs. So I've done a whole bunch of jobs until I was able to support myself with music and music alone.
You actually lived in the United States in Los Angeles for about 15 years, right? And you played in like New Orleans and what are supposedly now the jazz and the music destinations of the world, so to speak. So how does that feel?
Well, it's all just part of the journey, you know. It was fantastic. It was incredible, actually, to have the opportunity to be able to learn, to study, to play all this incredible music that I would have not had a chance to play here in India, and then to play with some incredible musicians there, and to play all these festivals. But I have to tell you, coming back to India is as thrilling for me to come back and to study Indian music and to compose and finish my album was as much a part of my musical journey as going to the West was.
Speaking of your new album, tell us about Full Circle. I think how long was the process? How did you tell us about it, basically?
Well, I mean, after I moved to Bombay, that was in 2004, is when I kind of I started to study Indian music, and because I was working in the industry, doing film work, doing commercial jingles and stuff, I had a chance to work with a whole bunch of really talented musicians. So that's when the process started. The album took about 3 years to complete, and it's, for me, I mean, the most special thing that I've done, mainly because it's the first time that I've got some kind of identity in my sound. It was basically all my styles. The album is called Full Circle for a couple of reasons. One is that it's you know, my journey of coming back home, returning back to my roots, and also for the first time using India, the sounds, colors and languages of India, along with all my other influences, folk, rock, jazz, African, Brazilian, Afro-Cuban influences, but most of all India. That's what really gave the identity to the sound. And it's got a whole bunch of people. I've collaborated with about 20-25 musicians on it. And I've put a band together and we've been performing this stuff as well. So hopefully we'll come to Bangalore sometime.
Guitar gurus Amit, Heri and Sanjay Divecha in an interview with Vivek.
myopusradio.